The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are The Bostonian versus The Book.
You covered! You covered 12! Covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus The Book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into, the first show of the week, which has kind of been a weird one for the Bostonian versus the Book. He is Dave Sharapan. I'm Matt Perrault. We were off Monday and Tuesday because of me. I've been battling it. If you hear my voice being destroyed, it's because, I'm not 100%. We're fighting it today. We're back. We're live on our YouTube channel. We're live on our Twitter, X, at Boston versus the Book. It is a well-watched Wednesday. Alex Kane coming up here in just 1 second. Replayed on Sports Grid TV and Sirius XM channel 159. How are you this morning? I guess it's afternoon. It's actually 12:15. How are you, Dave? It's afternoon.
Afternoon everywhere except Australia, where if you guys are watching, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm good. Let's try to just get this what we got to get done today and get it done. I was unaware that we were doing a show until about 30 minutes ago, so we're good to go. Let's do it.
Got a lot of things. Yes, this is my Jordan game, so we're gonna roll with it and get things. And Alex Kane is here. He'll be here at the top here in just 1 second for a well-watched Wednesday. I want to say thank you to you guys for all the notes, DMs. I appreciate it. Yes, I have COVID. Yes, I've been battling. Yes, it sucks. I should be fine, but not fun when you go to the ER and they're like, we don't know what's going on with your heart, so you need to stay overnight. We have to keep you for observation. I'm like, okay. And then before they gave me a battery of tests, someone just said, anyone test him for COVID yet? And they're like, no. And they tested me and they're like, you have COVID, go home. I was like, okay. So that's why everything was a mess. So not great to hear that you're sick, but better that you're not dealing with some major cardiac problem or something of a more significance besides just, hey, you have a virus and you need to get the virus out of here. So is Madeline okay? Yes, Maddie's okay. Maddie, actually, I think she had it first because it's weird because the kids, it looks like a cold and she had a runny nose and she just had, she was congested on Friday. I thought nothing of it. She didn't feel sick. She just had a runny nose and it was just like, okay. She went to school. She was fine. I'm guessing I got it from her. I mean, I think, but who knows? G2E was here. Who knows about the incubation period? Who knows how long? Who knows what went.
I don't know what's worse, not like testing negative for COVID over here in this house. We were all trying to figure out what the hell's wrong. Sunday was brutal. But everyone else is feeling good over here. But yeah, I don't know. That's glad you're up and sitting up and able to talk. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Drugs are a great thing,
right?
You can hammer yourself with drugs and make it easy. All right, it's a well-watched Wednesday. Let's get to our guy, Alex Kane, joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Get a lot to get to with our guy because in the wake of G2E and everything else that happened. Alex, how are you? Welcome back. How did G2E end for you?
Very good, Matt. Please stay well rested. I love the Jordan game reference. This is the first time I caught the amazing hardball reference in your opener.
It's
How
tremendous,
did I miss
isn't
that
it?
before?
Yeah.
What a movie. I mean, I love it when you call me Big Pop.
G baby. G baby forever. Yeah.
Wait,
are you
movie.
still at the Venetian? You got the same background as you had last week.
That's true. He does.
What are you doing right now?
That is the real Sky, actually. I had a meeting with somebody at the G2E, and I took it from the exact same spot where I did the meeting and the show last week. And she said, this is so sad, but I know exactly where you are. I'm like, where am I? She's like, you're at the St. Mark's Square at the Venetian and Las Vegas. I'm like, wow. She's like, yeah, I go for conferences all the time. So this is actually a real Sky, which is a bit nicer. You sort of lose track of time when you're at the Venetian, the St. Mark's Square, because the sky lightens up and it darkens, but it doesn't actually track time. When you're there for 10 hours a day for 3 days, you sort of notice that, but that was the place to take all the meetings. So it was very good. Got to spend a lot of time with Dave. Dave, that pizza was very good.
Man,
was name a restaurant? I would love to plug the restaurant. I don't know the restaurant, but it's at St. Mark's Square. Yes, we do. It's Brera Osteria.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Brera Osteria. How good was that pizza?
Pizza was great, and that guy became very friendly. He was, you were there a lot apparently. So,
Brian.
Brian was
Brian,
his
first name basis.
Brian.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh
Shout
yeah.
out to
No.
Brian.
Wow.
Yeah. He kept calling him Mr. Kane, which
I
I
was like,
was
whoa.
enjoying.
I was like, this is weird, but he kept fist bumping me, and I kept drinking iced teas and eating pizza, so it was a good deal.
It worked out okay. Except for the Phillies. I mean, let's just get that out of the way. Like, it's done. It's over.
It's over.
What's it like at home? I mean, I saw Thompson got an extension.
Yes.
Everybody post Phillies okay, like, because George is hurt already. Embiid said he's never playing back-to-backs again in his career. It's all unraveling. The Eagles barely won. Sirianni's yelling at everybody. He's yelling at Jake from Havertown. I mean, what the hell's going on there, Philadelphia?
Jake from Havertown, I love it.
Yeah,
it's like everything's on. Man, what's the metaphor? Like, you're skating on thin ice. You're like there's something. It's all sort of duct taped together. The Phillies losing stunk. As soon as Dave sat down and told me that he had a bunch of Mets futures to win the division, or to win the NLDS, I was just like, it's over. It's over. And the Phillies didn't hit. JT Realmuto was 0.00. Not even like 0.01 Animal House style. No. 0.000. It's kind of like it happened. I've tried to analyze it, and I'm like, where do you start between the pitching, particularly the relief pitching, which we had 2 All-Stars this year, right? 2 All-Stars, and they recorded a 12 dot whatever ERA. Yeah. Or the hitting outside Harper and Castellanos, really, maybe one player was above the Mendoza line. So yeah. It's kind of like it happened. I'm still enjoying this postseason baseball. I think it would have been a lot more competitive and fun to see sort of, the Phillies versus the Dodgers. But look, the Mets are playing really good baseball, and that's how they got to this point. So, and I think Yankees are going to, what happened late last night? The Yankees were up 3-2, went to bed. What happened?
Oh, that guy hit a home run. That guy hit a home run. Finally, Judge. Yeah. Finally. Yeah, he ran into one. Everybody can stop yelling, that Aaron Judge stinks in a postseason and all this other stuff. Listen, if they're out 2 games away from the World Series and he got his 3rd hit of the postseason, might be lights out for Cleveland.
I think it could be lights out for whoever they face potentially in the World Series. To your point, Aaron Judge, he has really done not a lot dating back to, I think, the last 2 weeks of the regular season. So look, it's over. The Phillies are done. The Eagles, let's see, the Sixers, the Flyers actually have a really young core that's all back this year. They beat Vancouver on Friday night. They got crushed by Calgary. I think, did they lose to Edmonton?
They lost in overtime last night to the Oilers. It was a good game, though. They're going to be a fun team to watch. If you're not a hockey fan, you need to gravitate towards a team to watch and kind of grow with. The Flyers are definitely on the list.
Yeah, totally. I think Torts is still coaching the team too.
Yep.
So, good unit, good young team, and kind of reminds you a little bit of like the 2022 Phillies in a way, like not expected to do much, but you do one late postseason run, then you'd expect to build a championship team around them. So not going to say that's going to happen, but the nice thing about the Flyers is the expectation level is very low. Versus these other teams, look at all the capital that we've sunk into the Phillies, into the Eagles, into the Sixers. It's like, and the expectations are still high for the Sixers generally across the city. For me, it's a little bit lower. To me, it's like Phillies are here, and then everything else is 2, 3, and 4 are I'll watch them when they're on TV, sort of thing. But there's a lot of expectation for the Sixers, and I think to your point, Joel Embiid, Paul George is 33, 34.
Hurt his knee already.
He's already hurt. That's not looking good.
So there we go. We just covered a whole week of WIP 94.1 radio.
There you go.
A much nicer tone. So
well, from a Philly Eagles standpoint, because watching the Cowboys get annihilated, is it weird to look at the Commanders and be like they're the best team in the division? Is that strange because they've been the laughingstock for so long, and all of a sudden they look like heads and shoulders the best team in the division?
No, this is surprising to say, but not really, because they've had flashes of brilliance the last 2 years. I know the record doesn't show it. Where they've played divisional games really close. And then this guy Daniels is a real deal, right? And I turned to Huffman the other day. I said, when we play this team at home, they're going to be favored. He goes, yeah. And it sort of felt normal. I mean, they have one of the best offenses in the NFC, right?
NFL.
Yeah, one of the best offenses in the NFL. They kept it close. I think they lost by 7.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just muted yourself.
Did you mute yourself?
You just muted yourself. Now he's muted. We can't hear you at all. Nothing.
Huh.
Come back, Jack.
That was weird.
I don't know. Alex is muted.
We have
How did
Alex.
that happen?
We can't hear Alex.
You guys can't.
Now you're back.
Now
you're back.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was on a diatribe about the Washington probably being the best team in the NFC. East. We can leave it at that.
Well, I mean, we gotta ask, because a lot of guys that I know in the business have been MIA. I mean, we were MIA Monday, Tuesday for different reasons, but all the road favorites won. All the road favorites covered. How bad was this week in the NFL for you guys? Because some books have said that was one of their worst Sundays in the history of their existence. What was it like for Sport Trade on Sunday?
It ended up being very average. Buffalo, I think, was a huge liability for us, but almost as big of a liability was everyone was taking Josh Allen under on passing, and that liability was almost as big.
Wow.
Kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, we the cool thing about Sport Trade is the market makers that we have can be very model based, differentiated, like, hey, I'm putting out this price. I know it disagrees with the odds screen. I plan to reclip at this price. I plan to reclip it. And you get these customers who say, wait a minute, I'm on Unabated, I'm on Spank Odds, Odds Jam, whatever your flavor is. Everyone else's 50-50 line for Josh Allen is, 195, 200. You're offering 212, 215, under. And, it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Like, you cut off one head and two. And so what was happening is someone would take out full size. You probably have $750 limits for that, and then 750 again, and then take it out, and 750 again, and they take it out, and so on and so forth. And it ended up, players taking really, really, really large positions, and then Josh Allen on a lot of those over/under props, he hit the over. So while the Bills won, and there was a lot of Bills pregame, and there was even more Bills in game, it was sort of buoyed and counterbalanced by the growing prop action that we get.
You know what that's called? Bookmaking. That's outstanding. That's outstanding. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And it's good you give them a little bit of freedom to do that. I mean, it's okay to be off the market for anybody that's watching in different parts or different states. It's okay. You don't have to just be the same number as everybody else and then do this and do that. I love to hear that, Alex, because, the state of people betting the NFL, a lot of people had success on Sunday, and they're very flush. They should probably go to Arizona and open up an account. They'll be coming to Virginia soon to open up an account. You guys are expanding. When I keep getting part of the discussions that was going on at G2E was about the contraction of sports betting and the expansion of sweeps. While you were here, did you get into the sweepstakes businesses at all? Did you do any of that yet?
Not in the last 7 days. No. No.
You're like the only one.
I'll be totally honest with you. We've looked at it. We've looked very, very seriously at it. I think the sweeps model is very good for some businesses. The uniqueness of our business is that Sport Trade's not really ever going to be a business that has 1 million players that bet, $25 at a time. And that's a great business to have. It's just not the business that we're in. It's not the product that we have. And that model fits sweeps kind of well for a lot of tax purposes. For players that want to bet more, the tax stuff on both our side and the player side is a little bit harder. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. But I'll be transparent and open and honest with you and say we've looked at this whole thing and said, how can we play into this? I really wish there was more of a push from the community and the ecosystem to say, hey, why don't we ask why there's so many businesses going into these, less than fully regulated avenues? Why don't we create pathways in these states? And then you realize that the pathways in the states only exist because the largest businesses made those pathways. And those pathways aren't exactly welcoming to smaller businesses. And that's a lot of what we do from a lobbying perspective, is educate a lawmaker and say, look, there's a lot of ways that gaming is happening in your state. And if you open up the front door and you make a much larger front door, you're going to get a lot more types of businesses, and you're going to bring a lot more streams of revenue through the taxation portal. And, that pitch is it's just going to take time. And so that, and in the void of that, that's where we're going to see a lot of this expansion into other things. And I will never say anything bad about any one business. I know how hard this is. I'm only here to support everybody else, but I'm saying, there's a reason why we're starting to see the emergence of this, is that the American entrepreneur and capital is not going to be forever constrained by what are very archaic and anti-competitive sports betting rules and regulations.
But Alex, I don't know if you guys will ever go into Texas or California. My gut tells me you probably won't until the market gets fully mature. But when you see reports coming out that there are sweepstakes sports books, social sports books in those states, that even if they do go legal, that they have the potential to make DraftKings and FanDuel be second class. Like they're making there's companies making their entire world based on those two states that do not have legalized sports betting, but they have sports gambling social. What does that say about the industry, the future of the industry, that this is happening in states that have 38 million people live in California and Texas?
It's tough one to answer. I spend so much time thinking about it, and then sometimes I realize that there is no answer.
Okay.
And like sports betting is such a small priority for lawmakers. And when sports betting ultimately comes to those states, unfortunately, what may happen is that the most powerful 4 or 5 stakeholders are going to create a rule set. We've already saw in 2022 in California, there was going to be $100 million licensing fee.
Yeah.
$100 million licensing fee. So
right.
Gambling is full. And I'm not saying Sporttrade is immune to this. I think that the way we run our business is very different and is a bit less transactional and a bit more transparent. But I won't say we're immune to it. We're not angels. After all, we're in the sports betting business. But I think the sports betting business is full of a lot of companies that will do anything to one up each other. If that means going into a gray market and trying to accumulate a database, that's possible. If it means going the more regulated route, but crafting the regulations in a way that actually blocks out everybody else, we see that too. And California was the latest example of that, where, you can't say to a company, hey, you should come into the regulated market on one hand, and then on the other hand, be drafting the regulations such that you've blocked them out. And maybe there's no answer to it. And maybe that's just the way gambling as an industry works. I'm still relatively new to it, having not, been in it for as long as you guys. But that can be frustrating. And ultimately it's bad for the customer, right? Like, we want a world where you can bet at -104, -102 even on basically anything pre-game. And every single thing that happens from a taxation, regulation, market access, it incurs a debt to that ultimate vision, which is to create the best experience for the consumer. And that's the stakeholder that is so often not a part of this whole thing. They're not at the table.
Not even a seat at the table, Alex.
No
they
seat
very
at the
rarely
table.
have a seat at the table.
No seat at the table.
What's going on is, and this is just a kind of a metaphor for life. A lot of times when the big boys don't like the rules, they just change the rules. And you can kind of craft it that way. So I don't know what it's going to be. I just read an article this morning while I was in the waiting room about Florida and what, like, the Hard Rock is entertaining offers, but they may just be playing them against each other from FanDuel and DraftKings as a way to get in. You know which states you're in. You know which states you're looking to get in.
Yes.
Is there a reason to get in those states that have the high taxation but have that high population base. Like that's not like you're not in that game, right?
Generally not interested in those states. We are starting to work on our own unique twist on a same game parlay, which is going to be rooted in price. Like everything that we do is going to be rooted in price and trying to give the most competitive price. And so that will help on the margins, pun intended, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, at a New York 51%, it's not, when you think about, okay, I want to build a sports gaming business, right? Well, you've got to get the license, right? You've got the tax rate. You've got to get customers to bring funds onto the platform. That has an expense as a function of your revenue. You've got to do geolocation. You've got to do KYC. You need the game state data providers. These are all sort of incremental tranches, that pieces of that proverbial pie, such that when 51% immediately goes to the state, and you still have affiliates, game state data providers, KYC, geolocation, federal excise tax, and payments, you know, it ends up being that New York is going to be the best thing that ever happened to DraftKings and FanDuel. Why? Because they have the scale that they can afford to make New York a loss leader. It's why Macy's for decades had the advantage over every mom and pop shop, is that they could produce the t-shirt that did all the sales, but that made Macy's no money because they wanted you to walk into that store and pay for the higher margin product. And so that proverb, that metaphor exists in online sports betting. And so the sort of twisted thing is governments are going to sort of optimize for these outcomes where they don't mind there not being a lot of competition, because once again, Dave, you hit the nail on the head. The players don't really have a seat at the table. And of course, like, this is not a knock against DraftKings or FanDuel, or like, you're just starting to see it in every aspect of the business. I just was on one of those sites, I forget which. They're starting to charge the 30 cent juice, so 7% spread as opposed to the 4.5 minus 110 minus 110. The second you go 1/2 point away from the main number.
Yep.
That was never the case. So you see this constant sort of pushing from all angles to take the most out of the player, and then governments start to see the results of the biggest operators, and then they want to take their pound of flesh, and then in the midst of all that, a lot of the innovative smaller companies that want to do something different, because they have to adhere to that higher and higher bar, but that bar only gets so high because of the way the customers are treated. And so if you're trying to treat a customer a different way, to your point, we can't look at those high tax states because we can't afford to make a New York a loss leader. You know, we have to look at every state and say, ultimately, within 12 months, this state has to be contributing towards, you know, offsetting our burn after marketing, after licensing, after all those sort of costs of revenue and so on and so forth. So there's still a lot of states out there that have a very reasonable tax rate, which is great. And so we're going to be focused on those states for the time being.
10 years ago, next month, or early November, excuse me, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, the NBA, wrote in a op-ed in the New York Times. ESPN wrote a recap or a look back at 10 years ago when Adam Silver wrote that and asked him, do you still feel like that was the right thing to do? And he said, yeah, it was the right thing to do. I'm still very much in favor of sports betting legalization, but I was in favor of a federal rule. I was not in favor of this hodgepodge, state by state. Every state has their own individual type of rules. I want it to be a broad reaching. I wanted the federal government to be in control over everything. Well, obviously the cat's out of the bag. We can't go backwards and go back and say, okay, we're going to have a federal law that supersedes all the states. However, do you think that we're going to see more bills? I mean, already one got put out a couple of weeks ago that got shot down, but do you think we'll see more federal bills come into play where the federal government will try to have a larger say in sports gambling?
Potentially. I think there's some positive potential there. Like, for example, there's been efforts at repealing the Wire Act, or I'm sorry, the federal excise tax, in a way that amends it to say, wait a minute, we never really built this for the legal operators. We built this for the illegal operators, because you have to remember, when the federal excise tax became a thing, sports betting was illegal federally by statute. And that's no longer the case. It was the case until 2018, as we know, May 14th, when PASPA was repealed. And so those things are really net positive for us. I think the things that are scary is that it would be naive for me to think that the same big money, huge lobbying efforts that exist now on a state by state level would somehow go away on a federal level. But now you have a much larger suite of stakeholders. And so part of me always thinks like the market could be much more efficient that way, but that's maybe thinking too positively of like, well, what happens if truly they ban in-play wagering, right? And of course, what they're doing, they're not banning in-play wagering. They're taxing those that choose to opt into all the rules and pay all the taxes and prohibiting them from competing against the unregulated market. That's all they're doing. They're not banning in-play wagering. In-play wagering is going nowhere. People love in-play wagering. It's very fun. And so it's a mix. It's like part of you thinks like, yeah, federalization would be great. And then the other part of you thinks like, oh man, if there's X stakeholders at this state legislature for this bill, there's going to be X times 2 stakeholders, which with X times 10 bankrolls to try and create a federal bill. And so even the FanDuel DraftKings may get dwarfed in spending by some of these other organizations that want it to look differently. And ultimately, we all can't even agree as a society what color the sky is in this very political climate.
It's blue behind you. Looks great.
I think it's blue. You think it's blue. The next guy is going to think it's purple, right? And they're going to want to be the naysayer. So I can't even imagine what coming to quorum on something as controversial as online sports betting is. But I think about this often. I think for all the responsible gaming stuff we're seeing, just imagine for a second how much worse the pushback would be if we truly saw the flourishing and the unleashing of the iGaming model. Because I think, to me personally, that's where we're going to see a lot more of those horror stories. In fact, a lot of the horror stories we've seen and read about in the Washington Post, they mention sports betting or they mention betting. We all think sports betting, and then you read it and you're like, oh no, this was iGaming. And I'm not saying sports betting is flawless and perfect. I think that one of those models, being iGaming, lends itself to a much more fast-paced, repetitive, consistent style of wagering that is maybe more dangerous for someone that could have a problem. And so I think for all the pushback we've gotten, I think we should count ourselves lucky as an industry, because if iGaming was truly out there and available in all the 30 odd states that have sports betting, regulated sports betting, that is, I think pushback would be worse, because
yes, it would.
It makes more revenue, right? What does that mean? It means players lose more on that site, on that product.
As customer acquisition costs would tell you, follow the money, just go where. But that's what I learned. I learned a bunch of stuff from G2E. Last one for me, sir. It's a 2-part question. What did you learn? Because you're a student, you're a scholar, you're educated, you learn all the time. And I love doing that myself. I respect the hell out of you because you're always listening, learning, and thinking. Biggest takeaway that you learned from G2E is part 1 of the question. And 2, are you guys ready at Sport Trade for what's coming with this college basketball? Because it ain't that far away. And them razor blades are going to be ready to just start slicing and dicing and totals and everything else. So 2-part question. Look back at your week in Vegas. What'd you take away? Learn something new. And how's college basketball looking?
I would say the answer 1, and I want to be as succinct as possible in both these answers, is that the investment community in iGaming, sports betting, that whole category, there seems to be unanimous consent that there is very little difference or risk profile between operating a completely regulated OSB offering versus one that is not regulated. And I sort of felt that unanimous position of the investment community. Sport Trade is always looking for investors, always communicating, always connecting the dots. That was the first thing that was not surprising, but definitely an inflection point for me. The second thing I'd say, answering the second question, is we are ready. We are starting to see a lot more players hop in our Discord, which we shouted out last week. We posted it on Twitter on Monday night. where customers are posting orders that are very, very competitive. They're at what we call mid-market. Mid-market means if the market's minus 110, minus 110, mid-market is, as you guessed it, plus 100. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that for college basketball, where you may have a sharp group that wants to bet 5,000. They're going to kind of understand that we're not going to be offering $5,000 at minus 104 for college basketball. However, we did a lot of this last year. They come in, they start to negotiate on a price, they interact with other players, and we often find that for every person that wants to bet the total over at minus 104, there's someone that would take the under at the opposite of that price. So we're really leaning into that sort of marketplacey feature or aspect of sports trade to make college basketball a success.
Good stuff. Alex, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. We'll talk next week. All right.
Thank you, guys. Feel better.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. That's Alex Kane from Sport Trade joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book on a Whale Watch Wednesday. We do it every Wednesday with Alex, and yeah, Alex could run for office. I agree, Brigade.
He's just sitting out in the car with the top down, hanging out. Looks nice. That was good.
Yeah. Breaking news from my guy Kirk Minahan, who I've known for years, and he doesn't normally report stuff. So when he reports it, I might actually believe him. Dave, could you believe that Tom Brady's first act as 10% owner and maybe runner of football operations will be to hire Bill Belichick as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders?
Jeez. Really?
He's reporting it. Multiple sources telling him that Brady's first act will be to gauge the interest of Bill Belichick becoming the next head coach of the Raiders.
That's kind of strange. I mean, because he's the reason that he left the Patriots.
Well, he didn't like playing for Bill, but he wouldn't play for Bill. He'd be Bill's boss. Belichick would work for him. Talk about a paradigm shift. Belichick's paycheck would come from Brady.
You think that's even possible?
Definitely. 100%. I don't know if Bill wants to coach anymore. Bill, does he really want to coach football in the NFL and have all of the crazy things that will happen? He'd be in the same division as Patrick Mahomes. Do you really want to go into that? Do you really want that type of, that mountain to climb? You don't have a quarterback. You don't have a roster. You have an owner that looks like he'll get out of the way, that Brady's going to be the guy that's going to run football operations. So Brady's going to have basically all say.
I don't know. Give the boys and girls something to vote on. If Brady asked, does Bill say yes? Yes or no? Yes or no?
I'm going to say he says no.
I don't think he wants to coach anymore. He looks like he's having fun. He looks healthy.
Agreed.
I mean, he's just relaxing.
I mean, you can have a 26-year-old girlfriend in Vegas. Nobody will care. No one's going to bat an eye at that.
It's a lot of work to do. I mean, it ain't like he's getting a team that's even 500. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to vote no when this poll comes up. I'm voting no. I don't think he says yes. You think he wants a coach? I don't think he wants. I mean, maybe in the right situation, but man, he's really.
Well, I mean, the Raiders would be the right situation because Bill would have total control. I mean, Bill would be the general manager. Bill would be the head coach. He would have a very similar situation that he had in New England where he would have full control. But we know that Bill as a GM has not worked. It's been bad. Bill as a coach is incredible. So I don't know if Bill wants to walk into that situation again where he either does he want the GM spot? Does he have to have it? Or is he willing to give it up? Is he willing to work with someone who they'll give him the players and he'll coach the players, or someone he gets to handpick the GM? I mean,
does he have to give up the underdog sponsorship?
He's got to give up all of it. Yeah. All of it.
I don't know. Shooting those commercials is way easier than
true
game planning for Patrick Mahomes twice a year.
Is Bill bored? I don't know if Bill is bored. I don't know.
Les, man. Bill don't look too bored. Bill look like he having fun. I don't know.
He's often said he's not a West Coast person. He said, I'm not, he grew up on the East Coast, coached in the East Coast, coached in New York, coached in Boston. Like Belichick doesn't really have a lot of West Coast ties. So for him to pick up and say, okay, I want to go to Vegas.
Belichick is like for 2 years, 3 years. It ain't
Maybe.
that bad. The weather's nice. I mean,
I'm not. Look, you're going to sell me on Vegas. I sell everybody else on Vegas.
I mean,
But I just don't know whether or not Bill wants to go into that division. And then again, Brady's his boss. Like, I don't know if he wants to work for Tom Brady.
did you see all the stipulations that now Brady cannot do
Yes.
because of that deal? Like, what? How did he get them? Does he give the Fox money back? Because
No, but I would fire. If I was Fox, I'd fire him.
I mean, I just have to let him go. Like, look, you really can't do the job. I mean, we appreciate you being here and you look great. It was fun while it lasted, but
he's not great at the job.
Well, I mean,
he's not great.
It's what they tell you on the way out rather than escort you out. They tell you, it was fun. You were great at the job. See you later. We're good. I don't know. I read those things yesterday and I was like, how? Why? What? Like, that's literally just rolling in game day. Hey, I'm here. Give me the microphone. Let's talk about the game. All right. Bye-bye. I don't know.
I don't know why he wants to do it, to be honest. Like, I know they're building all this, like all the ad campaigns around Brady and he loves football and get to work, all those things. I get that. But if I'm Brady, like, what do you, like, if you're the owner of a football team and you're going to be the head of football operations, why do you want to call the games too? Like, well, I know the money's there. Money? Brady, I agree, money, but like, how much money does Tom Brady need? He got a $375 million deal, and he decided to go and roll that into an ownership stake of the Raiders.
More money.
Like, it's worth, like, that's why it took so long, because they had to basically, all those parameters, all those rules that they put around Brady, well, he got it at a discounted price. Like, his group, him and his partner, they're putting in $200 million. And then the rest of his group is putting in the rest, but it's valued at $3.5 billion, the team. Like, he got it at a discounted price. And the owners were like, wait, what's going on? Because they wanted him to be part of it. Because by all accounts, Mark Davis does not want to be the face of the Raiders anymore. He wants Tom Brady to be the face of the Raiders. History tells us it hasn't worked. Michael Jordan was a disaster as an owner.
Yeah, that didn't work out well at all.
So
I don't know if that's the comparable, but it's not. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, the Raiders have a history, but their history is in Oakland. Their success hasn't been a while.
I mean,
Charlotte was not a successful franchise other than a couple of years. I mean, it's just, eesh.
But from a Raider fan perspective, like, I know they're trying to rebuild the fan base in Vegas, but like, this is the guy who handed you your most controversial and difficult to swallow loss. And now he owns your team?
The snow game?
Tuck rule game. No Raider fan ever gets over that. Now the guy owns your team.
Nor should they. They literally made that rule up at the time.
Did not make the rule. The rule was on the record. It had been ruled 2 times previously that same season. They had ruled it. You just didn't know what it was. Happened last night. Same thing happened last night. Or Monday night, rather. With Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think the NFL really cares, right? They want the money. They want Tom Brady involved. I mean, they gave him an announcer job. He did a couple.
I don't know. The owners, you talked about the handcuffs they placed on him as a broadcaster are pretty significant. He can't say anything.
He can't even go to the meetings, the facility, the practices, like nothing. That's kind of where you get a lot of information.
He can't see anything. He just has to walk up, like you mentioned. He walks in on Sunday morning and calls the game. It's like a high school football game. Like, these guys, if you guys don't know this, when you're calling an NFL football game, you show up on Thursday. Like, you start walking through practice. You start sitting down with the owners and the players, and you do behind the scenes work. You do on-camera interviews. Like, when you're working an NFL football game, like, you do a lot. In the primetime game, sometimes it's even longer than that. I mean, if you have a really big production, you're there really early. You're there every day. Brady can't be a part of any of that.
Man,
it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. So if he coaches, if I don't know, I would vote no. That I don't think Belichick says yes to Tom. I don't know if he wants to go ahead and do that, but yeah, that's great. No show prep. You're right. How great is that? You just show up, makes $375 million. Why would Fox keep him? Like, somebody at Fox is going to be like, he can't say anything. He can't even, like, all he can do is say what happens on the field. But half the time, you're going back and referencing practice, saying like when we were at practice on Friday, we watched them working on this type of, this play, and the play was supposed to go this way, but instead it went that way. Like, that's not what Brady's going to say anymore. It's going to be very boring. Yeah. He's boring anyway. I mean, Brady's boring now.
It's almost like he's trying too hard.
Yeah. I mean, somebody said he's trying to be Romo. Some people said he was just trying to be more energetic because he was so blah in the beginning. Now he's like trying to be like this whole like, rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
It's not his cup of tea. Just not what he does.
Just be yourself. If that's not going to work, that's
he
easy.
He can't be himself because he wants to rip. He wants to rip these guys apart. Like the real Tom Brady is the guy that sat down with LeBron James for his barbershop show where he ripped apart the entire league. Like he criticized everyone. That's the real Tom Brady.
But he was playing, right?
No, he had stopped.
He had
just stopped. But that's the real Tom Brady. The real Tom Brady is the guy that wants to call out the quarterback play and how poor it is and say these guys are handed offenses way too early. They can't run offenses. They can't read defenses. They make awful throws all the time, and yet they keep on getting jobs. He's not really wrong. Look at the numbers the first 5 weeks of the season. This week was different because we saw offense finally pop this week, but the first 5 weeks was brutal.
I don't know. You watch it. I've been saying it now for 3 days. I've been saying it for 3 years, but the product on Saturday is way better than the product on Sunday.
Not fair. Not even a fight.
I don't even know who needs to hear that, but like you could come at us. I mean, it's Sports BK Consig, Sports Talk Matt, the shows at Boston versus the book. I love Saturday. Sunday, I watch because I have to. I don't enjoy it nearly as much as I mean, there's too many flags. It's too random. It's too, I don't know. I've thoroughly, like Saturday, this past Saturday was so good. It was so good from morning until night with a nice nap in between. Like I woke up and I was up watching Kansas State and Colorado and then late Hawaii watching Boise. Probably contributed to the lack of sleep and feeling like caca because it was just watching football. But man, it was great. I didn't feel like Sunday was great, although it was great for people that bet the favorites. I don't know.
I don't know how the NFL goes about fixing it because the NFL has always been the number one. And when you're used to being number one, and you're still number one, you tend to not look behind you. You're not worried about what's coming up behind you. But as college football begins this new trek into a 70 team or 72 team, whatever it might be, this rival. I mean, the NFL has never had a rival. The USFL, they just bought them out. If they ever close to them, they bought them out. The XFL and the new USFL, no. They've never had an actual real rivalry, someone who could take their dollar. I'm not saying college will ever take the NFL's dollar because the markets that they're in are so different, but the college football world, now that we're entering into pay for play and endorsements, like there's going to be a mark. Like the college football world is going to start to impact the NFL's bottom line at some point if this growth potential continues. Just because, I mean, look how many college kids, how many ads have Buffalo players in it, either Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders. Like on Saturdays, you just watch. There's like 5 kids who are playing college
Colorado
football.
Buffaloes, yeah.
Yeah, who are there doing KFC ads, doing Gatorade ads, doing New Balance ads. Like they're doing ads you would see professional NFL players doing. The college kids are doing it. So you just wonder, it's not anywhere close right now, but like I think a lot of people like us who love football, like my daughter hates the Raider games. Hates them. Thought they were boring, wanted completely and totally miserable at both NFL games for the Patriots. She went to one UNLV game and we're going next week because she's like, we're going to that game, right? She loved it, into it, excited, locked in, the band, things that were happening.
Incredible game, though. Don't forget. And one of the Patriot games was a preseason game. So
True.
It was trash.
True.
But it could have been a regular season game.
She's seen one of those, and that was trash too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know. There's it's been that way in the book it was always, just NFL and you did college football because there was a limited market and people were interested, but it was not even 2 compared to the NBA. You know, it was below all of it. I don't know. Saturdays, you talk to the guys in the books and stuff. I saw it myself up until the time I stopped working in the book. Saturdays was bigger than Sundays. It was just bigger. It was longer, bigger handles, and more games, more quality games.
Yeah, because one game's
I
bad.
saw the ad for the playoff. It's December 20th and 21st.
Yeah.
The Christmas week is blown. Because the games are going to be excellent, except for 1 or 2 of them may not be like excellent. There's going to be more games, like
4, 4, 2, 1.
The first 2 weeks are going to completely usurp everything.
Good word. 4-4 back-to-back weeks of 4 playoff games in college, up against regular season NFL games,
with the second week being better than the first. It's going to be so good.
It is. And I think the books are going to benefit from it. I think obviously content folks will benefit from it. We haven't seen it before, and I think people are going to be locked in on it. And then we're going to go. I mean, that's the thing about college that is better that the NFL can't help. When it's a crap week in the NFL, like sure there are some bad weeks in college football, but there are so many games to pick from. Like you can find a game that's good. Like you just look around. Like you'll find a game that's got something fun going on.
There's storylines
that
are constantly changing. Like Army is a storyline right now.
Navy. So is
Navy is a storyline right now. This Heisman race, the numbers are changing so much every single week. And, there's an upset here or there's Texas established themselves with authority. What they did on Saturday. Like, will they do it again this week? That was the Red River rivalry. Oh, now what? They're playing Georgia. What? Like
home.
It's not like they're going to Indianapolis, like to play the Colts, or they're going to Jacksonville, or like
Foxborough play the Patriots.
Well, Jacksonville and New England are going to England.
And playing in London. Enjoy that game. That's gonna be fun to wake up to on Sunday morning. Right? Watch that crap show. 1-5 versus 1-5. Woohoo! That sounds like fun. Let's go watch that.
5. That's hilarious. The line is 5.
So bad. To baseball, the Yankees go up 2-0 in the ALCS, taking out the Guardians last night 6-3. Aaron Judge hits his first home run in the postseason. Teams that go up 2-0 in the AL and NLCS generally win the thing.
I got the stat from MLB Network yesterday. In best of 7 postseason series, teams to win each of the first 2 games have gone on to win the series 84% of the time. That's 76-15.
That's why that game 2 win for the Mets was so big.
Yeah, made it a series. It's
so big.
It leaves it, despite the fact that the Dodgers are minus 150 for the series, it makes it a series. I mean, the price for the Yankees is minus 800 today to win a series. So they lose the Bibee game. That's not good. They did burn the bullpen a lot yesterday, and it's not good. None of it's good. Cleveland obviously has to win game 3 because it's only happened. You know specifically how many times it's happened when it's down 3-0. Yeah.
Good luck.
I mean, drop the pop-up in the first inning. Opened up the door. I like I can't think of the manager's name right off the top of my head. What he said after the game. What do you guys have to do in game 3? He said nothing. What do you have to do different? He said nothing. We had traffic on the bases every inning. They did. They just couldn't get that big hit. That's baseball. But it would behoove them to get a lead and maybe a big hit with guys on base and get to the Yankees bullpen sooner. It's a race between those 2 teams to get to the bullpen sooner, but the Yankee bullpen has been the underlying story of their success in the playoffs.
Same with the Dodgers.
Bullpen's been great.
Yeah. I mean, look, it looks like LA versus New York, which I'm not really all that excited about. But
I wore the night stuff today. I want to show bias. It's a New York series, no? Subway series.
I don't think the Dodgers are going to be losing to the Mets. I don't.
Oh,
But
I don't know.
we'll see. I mean, big game 3. Got a big game tonight. We'll see tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Ohtani hasn't really had a major impact yet. Judge went deep last night. Might be Ohtani night tonight.
The lefties got Ohtani tied up.
Mm.
He's having bad at-bats against lefties, and he's with nobody on base. It's like, it's weird. He can't get a
He's
hit.
0 for 18, right? When no one's on base.
Hit.
Yeah. But when guys are in scoring position, he's doing Ohtani things because they got to pitch to him.
JPC the fourth just said it. Bueller getting lit up tonight.
Bueller's going to crap the bed tonight.
Did you? Bueller going to crap the bed tonight. We'll see.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Dodgers Yankees what they want. I think they're going to get it. I think they're going to get the thing. Although Mets Yankees, again, no one cares about it outside New York, but over in New York, it'll be crazy. It'll be monster.
But at least the guys, like I do the show at Wetzel at night, like even he was the first one to say it too. He's like, no one outside. He don't even want to see it because he's not really. He lives in New York, but he's not a New York guy. He's Boston guy, but like nobody wants to see that.
No.
And they're complaining about last year nobody watching. Like a pocket of the country will watch Yankees Mets,
but that's it.
Or diehard baseball fans.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Nope, I agree. That's it. It'll be one of those like, oh, who won the World Series? Oh, okay. Like it won't be like one of those like, oh, I got to watch it. Even LA, New York won't have a ton of people. People are going to watch it because the World Series and it's big names and it's Ohtani, it's Judge and whatnot. But there's not like the Guardians.
I think it's a worldwide audience. If it's Judge and Yankees and Ohtani and Dodgers, it's worldwide.
Well, Ohtani being there makes it worldwide. Yes, I would agree. Anything.
Yeah, but Yamamoto, like they got their guys in there.
Yeah, Dodgers Guardians would still be huge because of the Dodgers being in it. So it would be worldwide. As long as the Dodgers are in the World Series, it'll be worldwide.
Yeah.
It's Mets. It's not really worldwide.
Severino's the key to the whole thing tonight.
So why is he still hitting leadoff? They're getting pissed, AOWN. When people are asking that question in the post-game press conferences, Roberts doesn't like it. He's getting mad.
What are you going to do? Change it now? You nuts?
He's getting pissed. He's like, stop asking me the question. It's like that whole Saban meme. We're not changing it, so stop asking.
Well, here, you sit in the dugout and write the lineup. Where would you put him?
Well, the logical place would be put him third. That would be Ohtani's natural spot is third in the lineup.
He just went 50-50 hitting leadoff.
I'm not debating it. I'm just saying his natural spot for the most because having guys on base, we just talked about it. He's 0-18 when guys aren't on base. Okay, 0-18. He needs guys on base. So when you bat first, no one's on base.
Man, type it in the chat. Where would you put Ohtani in the lineup? And if you don't say one, you're nuts.
It's third.
I ain't changing it.
No, they're not going to, but his natural spot is third. He'll bat first because that's what they've done. But his natural spot is third. They don't have a natural. Mookie can lead off at 1, or Mookie can go 2. I like Mookie.
Mookie's finally hitting. Leave him alone.
I like Mookie at 2 personally. I always have. Who bats first? That's your problem. They don't have a natural leadoff hitter on that Yankee lineup, in the Dodger lineup. So that's a problem. If you have a true leadoff guy, you would go one leadoff guy, like Shane Victorino, right? You have a guy who's a contact hitter who gets on base, who can steal bases, not a power hitter, just a contact hitter. Put him at top. Mookie number 2, second and third. Ohtani is up. Bam, you're up 2. You're up 3-0. Like that's the old school baseball mentality, how you build a lineup. But they don't have a number 1 guy, and I wouldn't move Mookie. But Mookie has batted first before. For the Red Sox, he lit off for a while.
Yeah, but Mookie's hitting now. I'd leave him. Just leave it go. He'll be fine. Or he won't. But I ain't changing it now. The beauty of baseball a lot of times is you've established this routine. Like, I just know it from coaching the kids. If I change the lineup, I got in somebody's head.
Okay.
Once we established you hit first, you hit second, and we had a lot of success, as soon as we changed the lineup, they'd be like, Coach, why am I hitting 5th? Okay. I don't want you. Stop. She's hitting. We need her at the top of the lineup. You're just moving down. It's nothing you're doing wrong. I'm trying to get you going, and I want you to hit when they're on. Well, no, and now I have to change the way I get, I need to see pitches in the leadoff spot. Like, it was a dissertation. I don't want you thinking nothing except see ball, hit ball tonight in Citi Field if you're Shohei. Probably, I don't even want to talk to the interpreter. Who's hitting one? Ohtani.
We'll get to the game later. Hockey last night, man, this was hard to watch, and it was really, really well done. It was an emotional night in Columbus last night when they honored Johnny Gaudreau. They open up their home schedule last night for the first time. Huge tribute. 13 on the ice. They started with 4 players. They left the left wing empty. They ran 13 seconds off the clock. They wore 13 all during warm-ups. They raised the number 13 to the banner to the rafters. Nobody will ever wear number 13 again for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Really a heavy, heavy moment. And a tough moment there were grown men sobbing last night at that who probably never met Johnny Gaudreau. But that's one of those, it does one of two things for the team, right? It either rallies them together and they go out, or they have a really tough season because of it. And it's tough for them to rally together because their mind's not on hockey.
I'm just thinking about that game. Like, I don't know how you play the game.
Right.
It's just like someone named Katie Engelson tweeted yesterday, every Florida Panthers player showed up the Nationwide Arena with purple Gatorade and Skittles, a tribute to Johnny Gaudreau.
That's
Sam
awesome.
Bennett told me the idea was Matthew Tkachuk's. Johnny loves Skittles and purple Gatorade. It's a tribute to him on what will be an emotional night. That was the other team.
Yeah.
They all wore 13 Columbus jerseys for warm-up. It's, I don't know. The hockey community is something, and sports are really, say it all the time, sports brings us together, and then we kind of figure it out from there and who you're rooting for and all that other stuff. Whoo, that one hit you in the feels, man. That was a tough one. I can't even express, like, when I see his parents.
Oh, how about his kids? The 2 little kids.
I feel bad for the kids, and they're going to feel it obviously later, and they're going to see all these pictures and stuff, and the daughter pointing up at daddy's number.
I lost it when she did that. I lost it.
Yeah, I was
that
like,
was
oh my goodness. But like, I look at the mom and the dad. And
he was a mess.
It just
he lost both his kids, both his sons.
You just can't express what like, I don't know. It just, how do you get up every morning? You got to get.
How do you play a hockey game? Like you said, how do you play the game? How do you drop the puck and go play?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how you play, but like, you see the dad and the mom, and I'm just like, whew.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were on
the
the air, and I was like, man, I don't even want to talk about this. Like, we could talk about the game.
Right.
I ain't talking about betting it. Like, what are you betting? I have no idea.
It's tough. Ovechkin joined the 700 club last night. 853 goals, 700 assists. He's the 6th to do it. Yahoo Sports pointed this out. I don't think I knew this. Wayne Gretzky leads all of this, of the 700 club, with over 850 goals. But Wayne Gretzky has 1,963 assists.
Yes.
That means if Wayne Gretzky didn't score a single goal ever in his entire career in the NHL, he would still be the number 1 point leader in the history of the sport. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. He scored over 850 goals. But if he never scored a single goal, he would still be number 1 on the list for the most points ever, just based on assists. That number doesn't seem real. Like, we talk about numbers in sports that don't seem real. That number, Ovechkin's played for a long time. He just got 700 last night.
Yeah.
He's not even like 2.5 here. We're talking about Gretzky being above him for assists.
I don't know. I got to watch him play, as a young kid, and not enough because he was out west, but like,
right.
They got a lot of second assists back in the day.
Doubles the hockey assist.
The second assist, yeah, not the one that led directly to the goal. They're like, wait, who touched the puck before that? Oh, yeah, Gretzky was on the ice. Yeah, he passed it to him. Like there was a lot of.
You think they juiced it?
Think,
They
well,
gave it
I
to
just
him?
think no. I mean, he did touch the puck a lot. He was on the ice a lot, but I'm saying it was more. You know, how many people were watching the official score at the Northlands Coliseum?
Fair.
In the mid 80s.
Yeah, 85. Right.
I mean, you know, I was scouring wild feeds or the C-band satellite dish trying to hope to catch the game. But I don't know. I mean, it's just like I'm not comparing the two, but like the Jordan stuff.
Yeah, we learned right. Yeah, right. With the assists.
With the assists.
Yeah.
You know, like there may have been some, I'm not saying intentionally, but some padding of some, who knows? The number when he retired, it was like, wait a second. How did that happen?
Right.
Looking at it now, that's one of those never numbers. It's never.
Right. You're never touching that.
Yeah. You're going to get close to that.
I mean, the overall numbers, I mean, Ovechkin getting to 700 is wild. Like that's incredible. 894 goals for Wayne Gretzky, 1,963 assists. Ovechkin's got 853 goals and 700 assists. Gordie Howe, 801 goals and 1,049 assists. Jaromir Jagr, 766 goals and 1,155 assists. That's your top four.
Lemieux is fifth?
No, Lemieux's gone. Not five, not six.
He's not even in the top 10?
He may be top 10, not top six.
Okay.
List I'm looking at is top six. Who is Marcel Dion? I don't know who that is.
Oh, man, he was unbelievable center. Oh, played for the Los Angeles Kings in obscurity for a long time.
731 goals and 1040 assists. Phil Esposito, 717 goals, 873 assists. That's your entire list of people with 700 goals and 700 assists. So
yeah, Lemieux didn't have 700 goals.
Okay.
But he had the assist. I mean, his assist number is absurd too. I don't know. Wow. What a list. Those are all guys I watch play. Love watching highlights of those guys play. Somebody put Lemieux's career statistics in the chat. I don't want to stop my feed here, but look it up.
500 fights for Gordie Howe. Fair. Yes. And all of the list, he's probably the only one that fought. That's true. Although Phil Esposito fought.
Only when he had to.
Yeah, but he did.
Only at the beginning. When he went to New York, he didn't fight no more. He may have fought us sometimes in Boston. Everybody fought in Boston.
You had to. Choice. Yeah. Original six. You didn't fight. You didn't play. You got pushed around. If you wore a helmet, you didn't play either on that.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, they played on bad teams. Like Marcel Dion played on some bad Kings teams. Espo played on some bad teams too. Gordie Howe, they were good all the time. 690 goals for Lemieux and 1033 for assists. Thanks, AOW.
Oh, just short. Wow, he came just short of 700. Wow.
Yeah, and he had years missed because of cancer and injuries and all that other stuff. He didn't have anybody protecting him. Yeah, Espo did not fight. That's right. He had Cashman and Hodge do his fighting. He didn't really have to.
That was in New York, though.
Ovi didn't know. That was in Boston. Cashman was in Boston. Ovi, different type of player. That's a big impressive. I mean, that's a big career accomplishment.
Hell yeah.
For the way he played and as long as he played. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and the question is, can he catch Wayne? 894. He has 853. That's the question. Can he get to be the number one goal scorer in the history of the NHL? It's in Target. He plays 2 years. Got to go 30-20 next 2 years. He can get there. I think he had 31 last year.
Maybe. He might.
But you know what they're going to do, though. The Capitals aren't going to be that good. They're going to feed the puck to him. They're going to juice his numbers to get him the record.
He's on the ice all the time.
Right, but they're just going to. Yeah, see, I think people think he's catching him. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. Yeah, fighting on skates does seem insane. I'll give you that.
It's hard. It's really hard.
It really does seem insane.
Once you learn how to do it, it's not that hard. But until you learn how to do it, it's hard.
Pull over the jersey over the top, grab the back of the jersey, pull it down.
I got a kid here. He waits tables at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he plays on the semi-pro team here.
Oh, that's all they do is fight. That's what people go to see, is fights.
And we were talking. He kind of befriended with the girls, and so now when we go down there, his name's Austin. He's a really cool kid. We're going to go to his games.
Oh, nice.
Can't shake his hand when we leave.
Broken?
His knuckles are destroyed. He's one of the guys that has to take care of business on the ice and keep getting called back to play.
Yeah.
I mean, his middle knuckle is over here. He's got two like first knuckles. I'm like, Austin, does that ever come back? He's like, nah, I don't think so. I think it's going to stay like that. Like, you can operate like that? He's like, yeah.
Kind of.
It's a good conversation piece. Knuckles, two knuckles here. Not that knuckle.
It's a good conversation.
What are you thinking? Yeah, look, I got no knuckle.
Oh, goodness gracious. By the way, Najee Harris did not practice today. All signs pointing towards it's let's ride time. Russell Wilson will start a quarterback for the Steelers coming up this weekend against the Jets. We'll do that tomorrow, but
perfect timing.
Aaron Rodgers
home game.
Right.
Change everything.
Let's change. It doesn't make any sense.
Change it all.
You just scored 29 or 39 points, whatever you scored on the road against the Raiders. What are you doing? I'm with you. It's a Wednesday, so that means college football. Let's get into a bunch of these. Evan Abrams from the Action Network stats and information. Some really good games this weekend. This is, again, another weekend where college destroys the professional ranks in terms of big games. Friday night, we got a big one. Oklahoma State's at BYU. This number is 9.5, but the numbers probably would make you be careful. BYU is awesome. They're 6-0 ATS. They're 6-0 straight up. At home, they've been murdering people. So the number went from 7.5 to 9.5. Mike Gundy's 5-2 as a touchdown or more dog over the last 7 times this has happened. And on 10 days rest, Mike Gundy is 31-17 straight up as the coach of Oklahoma State. This is a game Friday night. 9.5 points is a lot for Oklahoma State.
This Friday night thing is catching on.
It sucks. It is, but it sucks. I hate it, but it is. You're right.
Why?
Because it kills high school football. Kills it. These college coaches are supposed to be watching high school
in those areas. Nobody's staying home from high school football in Texas or Pennsylvania.
No, it's the recruiting, Dave. It's the recruiting. I know, your coaches have to go out on Friday nights.
Recruiting is done.
Like, it's still there.
Oh, it's changed forever. This whole thing has changed forever. Recruiting is not nearly as important. Just open up the coffers. Go buy a team. You ain't got to go see a kid play. Tell him he's going to ask how much you're paying anyway. I don't need to go out to Nebraska and watch a high school football game anymore. I'm just going to go to his house and ask his mom and dad how much does he want. The whole game has changed.
Sucks.
That's a hell of a football game on Friday.
No one's betting on high school football on Fridays. That's true. No one is betting. Although I did watch that in Alabama. I watched guys book games in front of me watching high school football. It's like, what is going on?
I actually have seen that allegedly.
It's amazing. It was amazing watching it. I was like,
are
you booking the game? He's like, yeah, he's like, what do you want? It's 2.5. What do you want? I was like, you're actually booking the game. He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm calling the game. I'm not betting with you.
Right. Yeah. No, this is allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Really?
It's not the only place it happens in Alabama. Just saying, I've heard.
Yeah. Virginia, Alabama, Texas. Texas lines get crazy. Texas lines come out on Tuesday. Texas lines are big. High school football lines come out on Tuesday, and there's big arguments about it when lines come out. It's pretty funny.
Man, I would never take a high school football bet on a Tuesday for a game on a Friday. A lot of stuff that can happen between Tuesday and Friday for high school kids.
Yeah. But it's all your local bookie, and it's always a big argument. Like, he's got 3.5. Why do you have 4? I want 3.5. Well, yeah, I'm at 4. Always a big argument.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, those arguments are tough.
Allegedly, that's happening. I was in Houston going like, what are we doing, guys? Like, what are we doing? Yes, they have high school football lines. Yes. In Austin, yes. They in Texas and Houston and Dallas. Yes.
Maybe.
Not maybe. There's 30,000 people going to the games. There's more than maybe. Like you can make good money booking the games. They do make good money booking the high school games.
Yeah, there's people that want to bet them.
Hell yeah. To completely. I mean, it's
Addison, you can't be surprised by this. People bet F1.
true. I'd rather bet a high school game than bet F1.
This is the F1 portion of the show. That was quick. That was for you.
Everyone likes betting overs, but don't with college totals of 60 or more this season. Games with totals of 60 or higher, 83 and 44 to the under this year. It's the best start in the last 20 years for the unders in college football.
I'm glad the books got whacked last week because every stat that these guys like Evan put out are all in skew of like best ever. Best ever. I've been talking about unders for 30 years. And they're like, why do you always like the under? I'm telling you, unders are good. Unders this year are great.
In college, at least, look at 60 or higher. 60, 70% of the time, they're coming in. 83 and 44 is no joke.
Change messed everybody up. I'd be hard pressed to put a total in the 60s, period.
Right. Just seems hard to get there. Just for possessions, it's hard to get there.
Look, Chicago John's in the show right now. I just saw his name in the chat. He loves the unders. Good to see you, Chicago John.
In college, at least.
Learn to like the unders in college football.
Where is the Butchie?
Butchie's busy right now. I had a discussion with him over a couple days ago. He's working on something.
Matt, did you hear the Neil Brown quote about why fans should come to the game? No.
Nice weather.
Oh, we said?
The weather's nice.
So the weather's nice. That's why I go to West Virginia. It's a big game for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on down there. I mean, like, people are mad. They go to the games, just like in Dallas. You know, Jur had to yell at the guys doing the show.
Friends of ours.
Asked them
Those are friends of ours.
That's that guy.
Shan's a friend of mine. Like, I was like, what are you doing? Like, he's like,
was that RJ who we had on the show? Like,
yes.
we hung out with him at the Super Bowl.
Yes, those are all our friends. Yes, those are our guys from the fan in Dallas. Yes, Shan's and RJ and all them. Yes, those are all our guys.
Yeah, I saw that clip yesterday and I was like, wait a second. What do you mean you're just going to go get someone else to ask the question? What?
Guys, I pay. Hold on, time out. What do you mean? I was like, they don't work for you. Odyssey owns the station. What are you talking about, Jerry? Like, obviously, you're the home of the Cowboys. They make all their money off you. I get that. But, like, there's no, like, direct check to them. They work for the station. Like, and they're asking you a very real question. Like, they're asking you what's going on with the Cowboys. You just got your asses whipped.
A hard question.
Right.
And they didn't ask it in a mean way. Like,
no, they kiss his ass.
Tensions, well, I mean, because
they have to.
Exactly.
No choice.
You have to. But, like, so WV Punch Drunk One just said, he said, didn't you enjoy the tailgate then come back?
Oh no.
I mean, they lost. It was a competitive football game until it wasn't.
Right.
Iowa State is good. This just in, Iowa State's a pretty damn good football team.
Look, I bet over 7.5 wins on Iowa State. I didn't think I'd get it in the first 8 weeks. They're going to be 8-0. They're going to be 8-0. Like, it's look at their schedule. Like, it's wild. Like, they have a legitimate chance of going undefeated in the regular season. That West Virginia game, I bet against them. I thought, okay, here is Lucy with the football. Going to yank it away, fall on their ass. Nope. Second half was dominant for Iowa State.
They were dominant. You're absolutely right. Again, I look at a lot of things when I look at teams and playing and coaching and stuff in football, but like those second half adjustments, when they get made and they're consistently winning,
yeah,
there's a lot to be said for that. That means you can kind of adjust on the fly.
You tell me when Iowa State's losing. Central Florida, 13.5-point favorites this week.
No.
Home for Texas Tech. They'll be 10-point favorites in that game. Okay. On the road at Kansas, they'll be a touchdown favorite in that game. Home for Cincinnati, they'll be 2-touchdown favorite in that game. November 23rd, they go to Utah.
I guess we'll see if Cam Rising's playing.
He's not. He's out for the year. Right. He's done. Cam Rising's done.
Finally, somebody said. Please.
He's done. Yeah, he's done for the year. He's coming back next year. They give him an eighth year of eligibility. He got. NCAA told him, don't play anymore. We'll give you another year. You're fine. He got the 8th year over the weekend.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Double up.
I mean, knowing what I know for the girls, and not just my girls, just in general, like what I've talked to coaches and all this stuff, they just throw this guy another free year, like of eligibility.
Yep.
There's kids that would just almost do anything to get that next year of eligibility. That's pretty crazy. Wow.
So then they play Kansas State at home. I mean, Iowa State has a legitimate shot. That's the game, but they have a
I mean, they could go to Utah and lose as of right now, but
with who? With a true freshman quarterback? No.
I don't think they will.
Zach Wilson's brother's not beating Iowa State. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Sorry. If I'm a Cyclone fan, I'm going, holy crap. We beat Iowa. That was the game we had to get. After they got the Iowa comeback and they got that win, everything is set up for them to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, they go to
everything is
win
set
a
up for
hard
Iowa
game.
State.
They go to Kansas. You said they got a road game there, and then they got a road game with Utah. Legit go to that K-State game undefeated.
Unbelievable. Wow. It's see, but okay, Iowa fan, this is what all Iowa fans, and I'm with you. They're losing to someone that they shouldn't. That's the Iowa fan mentality. I don't blame you for thinking that, because we've always seen it. Yep. Iowa State's always choked when they've had these chances. But here's the one funny thing about all of this, and this is where my Cyclone friends are right on this. For the longest time, whenever Iowa State would have this type of team, they would be left out because they're Iowa State. The power-ups would be like, you can't come in here. This is our party. You're little Iowa State. You can't become part of this big-time party. They have no choice now but to let them in. There's an auto bid for them to win. They win the Big 12. They are in the playoffs. They will have a bye.
They're not getting another team in, though, are they?
The Big 12?
Big 12.
Kansas State's the only other one. But we'll see what happens. It would behoove them to have K-State probably beat Iowa State, to be honest.
I don't
K-State got crushed by BYU, though, man. That loss to BYU, 38-9, it's a bad loss.
Smoked them.
It's a bad loss. That'll leave a mark.
That K-State comeback against Colorado was insane. They lost the lead.
Got the over for me. Yeah, BYU's possible. No, BYU. I think most people are thinking BYU's going to trip up too, though. But BYU versus Iowa State in the Big 12 title game will be awesome. That'll be fun.
Good football game.
See, this is any of the SEC teams absolutely wreck Iowa State. Okay, you know what though? I want to see it. You might be right, but let me see it. Let's give them a shot. Let's decide this on the field, not in people's brains.
Can you imagine if they somehow win the first game and then get the second SEC team? That's the problem. A team that can win that one game, I don't know if they can win two, let alone
Iowa State?
three. A team like Iowa State.
No. I mean, once they run into a Texas and a Georgia, that caliber, Alabama, no, they're going to get crushed. But
in one game, anything's possible. But like they got to do that again the next week. That's the road is going to be so difficult for those teams. Oh,
because they don't get a home game too. They'll be
right.
They'll be neutral.
Well, no, they'll win if they win a Big 12. They'll get a home game.
No.
Oh no, it all
they'll
neutral.
Bye. They'll have a bye.
And
they'll skip out.
Neutral. Right.
Win the Big 12. They'll have a bye.
Right. Wow.
So they won't play.
Okay.
It's almost better to play. It's almost better to not win the Big 12 and get in as that large, but they won't get in that game. They probably won't get in as that large. So, SEC dogs. This is wild. Over the last 3 weeks, dogs in the SEC are 13-3, 18-6 overall.
Can't be laying no points in those games.
Is that because the public just thinks that it's almost like the NFL now? The public just is coming in and betting on the favorite, and so the numbers going up. The numbers are always inflated. Or it's because we think that Georgia and Alabama and Texas and Oklahoma, like we just expect these teams to blow other teams out, and Vanderbilt is killing people. Back-to-back weeks, back-to-back wins.
Vanderbilt's one example. Florida, right?
Tennessee
the numbers with Tennessee were high. Arkansas covered.
Yep.
Right? Like the numbers on the favorites, especially the name brands, are always higher.
Okay.
One way like this, 13-3 ATS is pretty strong.
Be careful laying points in the SEC. Oklahoma looks to bounce back against South Carolina. They're laying 2.5 at home to South Carolina since 99 off a straight up loss to Texas. OU is 9-0 straight up 6-3 against the spread. But I kind of like South Carolina in this game this weekend.
South Carolina had every opportunity to win that game.
Oh, did they have the onside kick was beautiful. That spinning football was so beautiful.
We woke up the neighbors if they were taking a nap. You and I were watching that game together over here at the house, and that was awesome. I hope people do that more. Kicking a squib ball on the ground like that, spinning, is very hard to recover, and they did it. Oh, that was – you think they win?
They might. I mean, just because they're not as bad as they look. That freshman quarterback got destroyed by Texas. That kid couldn't do anything. That was brutal. That was tough to watch. Texas just took them apart. Texas, though, is even better after the Red River. They play number 5 Georgia at home. It's the game of the week. Texas is laying 3.5 at home. UT is 16-9-1 against the spread and 23-3 straight up after facing Oklahoma. But Kirby Smart, this is going to be such a wild thing to watch. Top 5 matchups. He has dominated everyone except Alabama. 11-4 ATS in top 5 matchups. Georgia's a dog. It's the first time in 50 games Georgia will be a dog. 50.
Not only
5-0. 50 games.
Dog, P-Roll. They're 5-point dogs.
Oh, my gosh. Number's 5? Oh, sorry. I put 3.5.
Yeah. No, it was 3.5.
Now it's 5?
It's 5.
Oh, my. Look at that move.
4.5 left.
The run came to Texas.
Give the boys and girls another poll before we get out of here. First impression today. It's only Wednesday. We'll do it again on Friday and roll call Friday. Texas -5, Georgia +5. You got to pick this game. What are you taking?
Oh, gosh.
I don't know.
Right now, I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough thing to watch. I just can't believe 50 games. Alabama's favored at Tennessee in the third Saturday in October, one of my favorite traditions in college football. It has not worked out well for the Vols, unfortunately. Tennessee is 1-7 straight up and 2-6 as a dog at home ATS. The first half cover train that we have been so prominently talking about, they haven't scored, Dave, in the last 2 first halves. They got blanked by Florida and Arkansas. Not just not covering the 7-point line. They didn't score in the first half, the last 2 weeks.
They barely, it took everything they had to beat Florida.
Everything. Great comeback.
I don't want to say this looks so easy, but
take Bama.
Type this one in the chat because we've got the other one being voted on right now.
Tennessee is dead to me.
Tennessee is dead to me. JPC to Florida. Yeah. Finally started to play real teams. LL said Tennessee started to play real teams. Who's winning that game? In the chat.
That's what I mean. We have
TENN or Bama. BAMA.
We have Bama, Tennessee. We have Texas, Georgia. I mean, Friday night, Oklahoma, BYU. I mean, there's just so many good games. It's crazy.
The LSU Ole Miss game
was awesome.
Was tremendous. Penn State USC turned into a fantastic game.
That was a great game.
It was, breakfast was Saturday.
Yeah.
Lunch was good. Dinner was incredible.
Tremendous.
And
then all the games at night were awesome.
Great.
Were awesome. How about Indiana? They're 6-0 coming off of a bye. And they face Nebraska. Teams that were 6-0 or better coming off an extended rest are 61-10 straight up and 39-28-2 against the spread since 2015. Is Indiana going to be 7-0?
Let's see. Wow, it's the bottom game on the card here. 419, 420. 6.5. Just make it 7. What are we doing? Yes. Lucy with the football. Sorry, Tennessee or Nebraska people. You're going to lose. You're going to Indiana to lose.
They got the big noon kickoff going to the game. This is the big game on Fox. This is the big high-profile game.
Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Yeah. I was on with Pharrell yesterday. He said to say hello, by the way.
Hi.
Scotty said to say hello.
What's going on?
He said, say hi to Pharrell. He hasn't seen you for a while.
Yeah,
I said,
I haven't
yeah, he's
seen him
been
all.
working.
I've been sick.
Yeah, he meant in general. I said, yeah, there's a reason for that, but we'll save that for bonus time. But he was cautiously optimistic, even. And he's an Indiana guy. Dave's Daily Picks watches the show every day, comments a lot, leaves, comments in the Discord, thebvbshow.com. You guys can go there and do that as well. I don't know. If you're an Indiana guy, do you believe it? When this is fun.
7-0. I mean, I think they're
going to win this game. Look at their schedule.
Their coach is fun, too.
Look at
that quote is so good. I win. Google me.
It's so good.
So good. Went from James Madison to Indiana. He's been a head coach for 3 years. He's got 3 seasons in high-level FBS football, not even consider JMU high-level FBS. And he said, I win. Google me.
Look at their schedule.
For Indiana?
Yeah. Look at their schedule.
I mean, it's October. This is when basketball tickets start going on sale. Like, people stop talking about football in this part of the country. Let's see. They play Nebraska at home, then Washington at home, and they're at Michigan State. They're home for Michigan. They're at Ohio State, and they're home for Purdue. They're not going undefeated.
No, but like at the Buckeyes,
Losing
is the toughest game.
Yeah, Michigan at home is not going to be easy.
Win the rest of the games.
Michigan at home is not going to be easy.
No, but it's legit. They could win.
Wow. That'd be something. That would be something. We were mentioning Iowa State. Are they for real? Cyclones have won and covered 5 straight. It's the best streak for Iowa State in the last 30 years. They're 13.5-point favorites. Top 10 teams on this 5-0 type of streak as double-digit favorites, or 18-8-1 against the spread since 2014. You want to lay that type of number with the Cyclones? That's a big number, man. 13.5 was like, wow. It's a conference game.
Yeah, but you see, so was last week.
True.
They went on the road and did it. I mean, again, how many points is UCF going to score? Not
Good
that
question. 17?
Maybe. Where's that game? That's
Iowa State.
At
Iowa State.
Find them on the sheet here. Hold on.
Top. If you go to the score, if you go looking at odds board, the top.
Oh, wow. The first game. That's a night game?
Yeah.
What's that place like at night?
Fun. Loud. Drunk.
Oh, UCF's going to get crushed.
Especially because like Iowa State fans are starting to feel it. They're starting to feel it. They're starting to go, They went because the West Virginia game was the game they were supposed to lose. Like the Iowa State games, the clowns roll. Joel. Oh, you Iowa people never you
let it
Hawkeye
go.
fans, never let it go. Never change. The clowns roll. What's so funny about sports betting is because Iowa Hawkeye fans are fine with Iowa State winning as long as they cover, because they'll bet on them if they make them money. But if they bet on them and they don't cover, that's a whole different story. They'd be really angry. they're gonna be mad if that happens. You didn't get that win. USC on the East Coast again this week. They're traveling to Maryland. Trojans lost at home to your Penn State Nittany Lions. They're laying 7.5. Lincoln Riley is 4-13 against the number as a favorite over the last 2 seasons, and USC hasn't won or covered a game outside the Pacific time zone since 2012. How is this number 7.5?
Maryland.
I don't care who they're playing.
Maryland.
Boy, how bad's Maryland? They're still a Big Ten team, are they not?
Yeah, I guess. It's hard to believe it. They were laying 8 at Minnesota and lost. USC was. UCLA is Rutgers laying 4.5. Boy, the state of football for the UCLA and USC is not good.
No.
Oh, a lot of question marks.
Maryland lost to Northwestern. That's how bad they are. Fair.
They are terrible.
But, man, I don't know.
Arguably, the line is less against
Maryland than it was.
is against Minnesota. That was better than Maryland. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
give me the points. Colorado faces Arizona on the road as 3-point dogs. Coach Prime on the road is 2-9 straight up.
Another good game.
Great game. Sneaky game.
Zona playing 3.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to get Hunter back. He should play.
Oh,
So, and Horn too. They should have their 2 top weapons. Doesn't matter to me. This game's an overplay for me. Bet the over on this game.
59.
Not below 60. It's 60. Not below 60.
Yeah.
They get to 60.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these games at the bottom of the board now. UNLV's a 7-point road favorite at Oregon State.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. I'm hoping for 6.5.
Who's Boise play this week?
Boise, bye, I thought.
Oh, are they on a bye? Okay.
Hold on. I think they're on a bye because that sets up for UNLV Boise.
Yeah, I don't see them on the board.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's a bye for Boise.
It's not good for UNLV.
Oh, no. Nope. But they've already lost 1 home game this year, so you got to figure those 2.
Oh, man.
People are saying bet Oregon State because it's a look-ahead spot. It's a non-conference game with Boise on deck.
It's not a bad look.
So that they know who's coming in 2 weeks, so they may not be fully focused on Oregon State.
Not a bad look.
So, game 3 tonight, Bueller and Severino.
Over to?
Really? 7.5? Only if Otani gets into one.
What's the weather like? It's so fun. Turn the TV on. Everybody's got beanies on.
61.
Hoodies.
Sunny. We're good. 44 low, though.
Right. It's going to get cold as soon as
Yeah.
the sun goes down. Bueller's going to get rocked. The juice thinks over to. First thought when I saw it was over to.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised it's not 8. So really surprised it's not 8. It might have opened at 8. I guess it got bet down. Everybody got 7.5 now. Huh. Would have made it 8 if you were asking me. I don't know. Numbers, it's a complete coin flip. It's a side. I would love to see the Mets win because I think they can win tomorrow. You got Yamamoto, Quintana tomorrow. And another electric game. Multiple lead changes in this one tonight. Whew. I don't know. It's just sidewise. I'm leaning New York, but they could lose this. There's no must win today. Series isn't won or lost today.
No, I agree. But I think there is something to be said about momentum and I agree, starting pitching is everything. But I think from a Met perspective, if they win game 3, I think it's such a huge catalyst for them going forward that they'll now go, look, we can win this series. We're up 2-1. It makes game 4 so much more difficult for the Dodgers. That environment would be crazy for game 4.
It's 2-3-2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mets win game 3. They don't have to go back to LA, technically. So I don't think anybody wins 3 in a row, though.
Right.
Either team. We're going back to LA one way or the other.
For game 6.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild to see. That's going to be
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. It should be a really fun atmosphere. I mean, the Mets, this is the biggest game since when? The 86 World Series? Or the 2002 Subway Series? Was the last time we had a game this big in New York for the Mets, not the Yankees? It's been a long time.
Trying to think.
The Subway Series was 2002, right? Was Yankees Mets?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Early
So,
2000s.
it's been 20 years since we had a game this big
That's hard to believe.
for the Mets. Monster.
That's hard to believe. Wow.
Absolute juggernaut
Zach
monster.
O'Shea said 2015 NLCS.
No, it was 2000 for the Subway Series.
Subway Series was 2000. Yeah.
It's been a while since we've
Time
seen.
flies, man. Holy crap.
It's been a while since we've seen a game this big in Flushing Meadows.
Yeah.
So should be a fun atmosphere for sure. See what happens. Time for Better to Book It. We'll do the whole show today inside of Sports Grid and Sirius XM. So no bonus time today, guys, for us. I'm going over Pens and Sabres tonight. Your team plays no defense.
That's the bet. Do we have is
Jari
confirmed? Oh,
Jari.
yeah, it's over. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna watch the game. The
game
game against Montreal was entertaining as hell, but you got to tighten things up. This is early season hockey.
It's 6.5 at South Point now.
Yeah, that's the number.
So we're on 6 there on that. And then I'm going to do something a little bit unorthodox on this. I'm going to pay juice I don't normally pay, but the Bruins are on the road at Colorado with Georgiev in net. You can take their team total at 2.5 at -165. They've given up 6, 6, and 8 goals in the 3 games they've played so far.
Yeesh.
For Colorado. Bruins offense has been hot.
All at home too, right?
For who? Colorado? For Colorado? No, 1 game on the road. But they've been getting smoked. Like Georgiev's been awful. His goals against is 6.5.
Yeah, down in every game. Big.
Yeah, their defense is shocking how bad the Avs
Bruins live to win the game.
Yeah, that's but money. I feel they are. I'm scared to bet it because like at some point, the Avs are going to win a game.
Right.
Like it's professional hockey, and at some point the Bruins on the road, cross country, like yes, the Bruins are live, but I think it's the easier play was to say, okay, they're going to score 3 goals in this. Like Boston scores 3.
Right.
Be careful, by the way, on the books. Somebody mentioned this to me this morning. Different books are claiming that overtime shootout wins are not team total wins. So I guess ESPN Bet has a new thing where if the team wins 3-2 in a shootout, they don't count the goal as team total over.
Just alienating customers.
So just if you just be careful, look at your house rules. Look at your house rules. If you're going to bet this from a team total perspective, if Boston wins 3-2 in a shootout, you would lose at certain books.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. You can bet over 3.5 at plus money. It's plus 140 if you want to bet over 3.5. But then to score 4 goals, we'll see.
Oh, just another reason why I'm glad I'm not in the book trying to answer that question. You won. No, you didn't. Why? Because it went to a shootout. But they scored a goal.
3-2. Yeah, no.
No.
Sorry.
It's when they scored it.
Favorite thing about today is what?
We got the show done in enough time, quickly, efficiently. Favorite thing about today is going to be the nap that I'm taking in 5 minutes right after this show.
As soon as the drugs wear off for me, I will be joining you on the same path. I have not slept more in the last 2 days than I can ever remember. Just being literally on the couch in and out of consciousness for the better part of 48 hours I slept for 13 and 10.5 hours the last 2 nights.
I did that Sunday. Sunday, I shut it down. I was like the Steeler game, and then the baseball game was out of hand, and I went to bed at like 8:00, and I slept until I don't know what time it was, and I woke up to all these texts like I'm in a hospital. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You're in a hospital. Where's your daughter? That's one of the first questions I always ask. How are you? But where's your daughter? She's fine. She's fine. Okay. Yeah, they're running some tests. I texted my wife. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. He's in a hospital. So
because my heart rate was at 125 at midnight.
Yeah, I read the text.
Bad.
I know. That was,
so I was like, I got to go.
Right. Well, and on that note, you just froze on the way out. Look at that. Snap your fingers. Clap your hands. Come back.
1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. We made a whole show without freezing. Yeah. Pretty good.
That'd be good. You go see the doc tomorrow. You explain all of this to him. Shave your chest too.
They're going to give me one of the things that you had. I'm going to wear that walk around thing.
Make sure you shave your chest.
Have one of those walk around things the entire time. Should be a lot of fun. Enjoying it. Guys, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you to Alex Kane and Sport Trade for everybody. We appreciate it. We're back tomorrow on a primetime Thursday. We'll get the Thursday night football and everything else happening. We may have an announcement tomorrow, but we'll see. We should have an announcement tomorrow. Things go the way they're supposed to go. We'll have an announcement tomorrow, but we're hoping to have an announcement tomorrow as to something that could be happening at the end of the month. So stay tuned for that on a primetime Thursday, brought to you by Prime Sportsbook. Dave, Matt, we're back tomorrow for BBB.